Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Welcome. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا اغفر لي ولوالدي وللمؤمنين يوم يقوم الحساب برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. وصل اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين. Now we are going to deal with a somehow difficult subject, but inshallah, by sharing your ideas and helping how to understand these verses, how they are related to our practical lives now, inshallah, we will try to get something useful for us. Now, we are going to study the verse 66 and verse number 12, the section 66, verse number 12. Another example is Mary, a daughter of Imran, who guarded her chastity into him who is the womb, who is in the womb. I think there is one in is missing there. Who is in the womb. We breathe of our spirit. She believed in the words of her Lord and his books. She was one of the devout. Now, we studied somehow some aspects of this. For example, Mary is the symbol of chastity as a woman, but we haven't touched upon why chastity is mentioned only for women, but why not men? Now, this is an example given by us, not necessarily that to preserve, to guard one's chastity is unique to women, but men as well. But this is the best example in her position to keep her chastity guarded. She is young. It is an example, ideal example. She is young, a handsome man appeared before him, and they are alone, and she never gave in. It is very important how she protected, guarded her chastity. Inshallah, we will study in the following verses. And we will mention this aspect of the story while we are studying. Inshallah, we will be studying those verses. And it doesn't mean that men is not responsible to guard their chastity, because when we study the Qur'an in its entirety, we understand that some examples are given for women and some examples are given for men as well. For example, is very famous verse everybody really talks about it. Some people really use it as a means of criticizing the Quran and saying that this is not really appropriate to our century, etc. Nushuz, if the man is afraid of the nushuz, it means going beyond the limits, actually. Let's put it in this way. Doing something which is not appropriate for a person to do, there is no need to go into details. And you know why Nishu's doing something really very nasty. So, and the man has to treat her in a regular way, not out of his anger, giving periods. Every period takes 1 month, and then the last end of the 3rd month, the last decision. So this teaches us that we should never ever act emotionally, especially carried away by our anger. That is the purpose of that verse. How about, of course, as a juridical side of it is another matter that we are not dealing with in our discussions. But there are other words and talking about nushuz of men. That is why we have to understand that this preserving the chastity does not belong to men only for the responsibility of women, but men as well. So that is what we have to keep in mind. Now God breathed his spirit into what it is in the womb of women. It means Mary. Why we understand that ونفخت فيه means male, not female. So we cannot say God breathed into Mary, but breathed into the baby, fetus. From God's spirit. But that is important because as if God breathed into the womb, but we will study this actually, breathing spirit to everybody. It is not unique to Mary. Why is it important? We will discuss this, inshallah. It is important, we will discuss this. But let's finish at least some beauty of the language of the Quran. وَصَدَقَتْ بِكَلِمَاتِ رَبِّهَا. Now, when it comes, when the subject turns to Mary, this gender of the verb changes. Before it was male, now it is female. What it means, Mary believed in the words of her Lord. Now, we have to understand this. Of course, we will study separately why the Quran mentions kalimat and kutub. It means the words and the books separately, but usually they are interchangeably used in the Quran. That is important because we should study the difference between the book, as the Quran mentions, and in the Quran as a term used. The book is a term used in the Quran representing God's speech, and also kalimat is another type of speech. Again, both of them refer to God. Bikalimati Rabbiha, again, his Lord's words. And wakutubihi, again, his books. Now the words belong to God, books, plural, belong to God again. And she believed in them. It doesn't mean that the baby Jesus did not believe. It's a fetus now at this stage of growing in the womb of his mother. So what we have been talking about here, it's in fact simple. God breathes this from his spirit to everyone, not necessarily to Mary, in order to give an extraordinary, according to our understanding, extraordinary way of creating. it doesn't make any difference at all. We will study this. But we are expected to believe what is created as they are being created, and what is spoken in the revelations as they are spoken by the Creator. Now, lots of people, especially in the late modern era, but before also some scholars, Muslim scholars, were suspicious about the nature of, as we call it, miracles, which are mu'jizat. Now, they say those people who are not happy with miracles or narrations of miracles in the Quran, or the narrations, some narrations are interpreted in terms of miraculous creation. They are not happy with it because they say one of the main arguments that this term is not used in the Quran, which seems to be correct. But it doesn't mean that the Muslim scholarship in general, majority of the Muslims, use this term and have a consensus about it, means that they didn't see any harm to using a word which is not used in the Quran, but described something which is human. We have to use a word for it. So the dispute between those people who don't really confirm that in creation there is no miraculous, extraordinary creation, because there are several verses in the Quran which specifically mention that God does not change the way he creates, which is called sunnatullah. The way he creates, it means the order that we observe in the universe. Is that correct? Yes. He doesn't change his order. Now, in order to understand that, how order does not change, whereas Muslim scholarship, majority of them, agreed that there are extraordinary events. Now, this is a problem. Not many people really gave satisfactory answer to this or touched upon the subject, in fact. They took it for granted that Sunnatullah doesn't change, but at the same time, there are miraculous creations, which we can really understand as miraculous creation. Yeah. But with the interpretation, which is mixed up several points of views at the same time, but I am more convinced of this interpretation benefited from various aspects of different scholars' understanding of the subject. I made it very clear to my own language, simple language. As far as we are talking about the creation side of the events, I think this is useful for you, because when you read an interpretation of the Quran or commentary or translation of the Quran, some scholars forced to deny that there are no extraordinary existence. That's why extraordinary creation. That's why this subject, I found it important for us to notice. Now, when you look at the matter as they are coming into existence in the world, as far as God's infinite absolute capacity is concerned, everything is equal. Everything is equal before God. What does it mean? God does not have to follow the order he established within the universe, but it is his choice. And he creates within this order, and the order, the aspect of the order which looks to the creator is equal, whether creating Adam out of nowhere, whether creating Jesus with no father. It means according to us, it's extraordinary. According to God, it's ordinary. There is no difference. Why? Because when we look at the creation, according to us, there are chains of causal effects, cause and effect chains, chains of causes. This is according to our observation, the way we are accustomed with the order of the universe. But as far as the source of existence of the universe is concerned, there is no chain of cause and effect. As we refer to this subject in this class, in these discussions, there is no cause and effect. The universe is in its entirety, altogether, nothing but effects. The cause of existence is the absolute being who has given existence to this universe. We call it the source of existence, the absolute source of existence. Whatever is created needs to an absolute source of existence to come into existence in the perfect way, acting within or created within the harmoniously working order of the universe with no exception. But from our perspective, we see that if there was no tree, there would be no fruit. If I want orange, I have to plant orange seed. There's no other way for me, because I am following the order as I see it operating. But when God creates the fruit on the branches of the tree, whatever the fruit tree it is, he doesn't, he must be an absolute being. An absolute being, by definition, cannot need anything, any means, otherwise he wouldn't be absolute. And if he wasn't absolute, the creator wasn't absolute, he wouldn't be able to give existence to something which did not exist before. Bringing into existence out of nowhere whatsoever, no cause at all, must be unique to an absolute being. Not to me. I'm sure you cannot claim that either. so we are all the same. We cannot bring anything. But we say, I made an wonderful art and the people paid $1 million for it. This is my creation. No, you used all created beings in order to, then the order obeyed the order of the universe in order to make this piece of art. Why? You didn't bring anything into existence, but your ability is given to you by your creator. Your imagination is given to you by your creator. The talent is given to you by your creator. It was in a potential form. You worked for it, studied, discovered, and became talented to do this perfect art or to make something technological gadgets, etc. Nowadays we are using everyone. I think maybe some exceptions, but since I am using it, I think everybody is using it. So anyway, I'm very restricted about this subject in my private life. That's my private life. Anyways, now, we understood that it's very easy. As far as the absolute source of existence is concerned, everything is equal. There is no cause whatsoever. As far as you and I are concerned, we have to follow the order of the universe, and we call it. Oh, why am I shouting? Well, that is my, when I get excited, I don't really control my voice. So we call it, I am following the causes to me, not to the creator. Watch out, not to the creator. I am following the causes. So the universe is created in such a way that it is beautiful, it is perfect. I can look at it and learn it, and I can apply at the result of my learning how to communicate with the creator as a believer. If someone doesn't believe, they will say, I am communicating with nature, whatever the name they invent, false names. So I am communicating with the creator, and I know how to present my needs to him, that I want the result. And while I am doing it, I should be very conscious that I am asking, praying, begging the creator to create it for me in the next moment. I cannot create it in the next moment, but I cannot guarantee anything that it will happen in the next moment. That is why even the simplest thing that I take the pen and the pencil, or I type the on my computer, all right, and the result is created. For example, let's enlarge the time span here. From today, no one can guarantee anything what will happen tomorrow, if it is going to be created or not. We cannot guarantee anything. There is no reason within the universe that can be the cause of existence, therefore guarantees that tomorrow will be created by something, by himself, or he will guarantee that he or it will guarantee that they will create tomorrow. Impossible to find anything in the universe with no slightest sign that anything says, I guarantee that tomorrow will exist, and I will give existence to the tomorrow, to whatever is going to be created tomorrow. That will be my production. Impossible. No one can ever claim this. There is no sign. But scientists speak as if everything is guaranteed. All right, they are living in a dream world. I don't care. So realistically speaking, no one can demonstrate. All those people claim, not openly, but really twisting the words, camouflage, doing the camouflage or tricks, or all this language they use, as if the things have to happen as they are happening. But there is no sign. Anyways, we human beings are accustomed to act within the, as we call it, cause and effect. It means I know if I want orange tree, I have to sow the seed of orange seed. Sow the orange seed into the soil and water it, etc. Obey the climate and the season. Because I can learn it. That is why the universe is created within a routine, if you like, to teach human beings how to communicate with the Creator. Let's assume that everything is miraculously created. It means something is here and there happening. I got confused completely. What's going on? But it doesn't mean anything for me. And I cannot really communicate with the Creator because He is doing all these great things anywhere, anytime. It may be very wonderful, but I don't know what's happening. I cannot make sense of it. According to my capacity, the universe must exist as it does right now, so that I will be comfortable to find out the way to communicate with my Creator. Now, the matter, this ordinary and extraordinary miraculous creations matter, is subject to us, nothing to do with the Creator. For the Creator, everything is equal. This is mentioned, clarified in the language of the Qur'an in various verses. That is why from us, the creation of Jesus is extraordinary, because we've never observed and experienced such a type of creation. But when we look at the universe, there is no cause anyways within the universe. Everything is direct effects of the will of their Creator. So we understand that if we look at the matter from God's perspective, now, very simple conclusion. There is no miracles and everything is miracle. There is no extraordinary. Everything is extraordinary. From our perspective, we have to follow the order. When there is something according to us extraordinary, we cannot do anything. So, for example, a woman, by looking at the order of the universe, women can give birth to a baby. But does it have to be in this way? For me, yes. For the Creator, no. That is the way of understanding miracles mentioned in the Quran, miracles mentioned in the Hadith narrations. We should never, ever forget this. Otherwise, there will be conflict between people's approaches, and the scholars will fight over it. And this fight never gets to an end. So I found this very comforting for me to explain the existence of anything from my perspective and from the perspective of its Creator. So I am a person who is given the ability to confirm the acts of the Creator. So I can confirm that everything needs to be, with the evidence of the universe, everything needs to be created by an absolute being. There is no cause and effect relationship. In my practical life, I have to obey the cause and effect relationship, and it seems to be to me. Did I make this important subject to me? It's very important. The people are confused. They keep arguing still in the 21st century, starting from the 2nd century of Muslim scholarship, still fighting. So I found it, Stop fighting, man. There is a solution for it, which is very true according to the teachings of the Quran. Yeah. And also human mind, and also witnessing of the universe. What's wrong with it? So I don't know whether anybody would like to make any comment or question, or was there, nah, it doesn't make sense. Come on, you wasted our time. What would you say? Anything? Or shall we move on? So Alhamdulillah, that it was exciting for me to find out this explanation, which really makes sense from all aspects. So I would like to share it with my beloved friends here and those people. There are some listening to the recordings, whatever. That is our duty, to share the truth which comforts us, and whatever the people or whoever needs this truth to comfort themselves, feel peaceful life and existence. No worry about anything. Just take care of your responsibility. That is very comforting for me, relaxing, peaceful understanding. Alhamdulillah. So she believed in the last sentence of the verse, phrase actually of the verse. She believed in the words of her Lord and his books. She was one of the devout. All right, we understood that she was the symbol of chastity. She was a very devout person. We understand that. Good for her, and a good example for me that I have to be like her, because human potentiality enables me to be like her, but I have to try as much as I can. Follow the example personality given in the Quran. Yeah, whoever we see around us who is doing better with his humanity, we have to benefit from them. We have to take the example from them. We say, Mary was an ideal woman, and so there is no ideal woman, so I don't know who is it. No. Get a better one as an example for me. There are definitely some people better than me. Definitely. I have to benefit from them. I shouldn't be really arrogant or snobbish, and I'm self-sufficient. I don't need anyone. No, I have to benefit from anyone who has any kind of better virtue, human virtue than me. Not imitate people the way they make money. That is something else. Simple. So what is the difference with words, kalimat, and books, kutub? Why? Because look, the Quran says kalimat, it means words of his Lord and his book. There are two different things. Yes, correct. But at the same time, as I mentioned at the beginning of our discussion, that the word kalimat and kitab are interchangeably used in the Quran, but be careful, depending on the context. It means one of them. For example, kitab, for example, Kitab. What is this? Kitabu Mubin, what is this? The Quran uses. Imamu Mubin, what is this? The different things are mentioned there. As compared to Imamu Mubin and Kitabu Mubin, then the word Kitab, the book, refers to the universe, because it is another kind of speech of God. Also, the same universe is referred in the Quran with kalimat, kalimatullah, kalimatihi. This kind of terminologies are used in the context. And we know that these are the speech of God manifested in the universe in the form of actions, creative actions. But at the same time, the Quran uses the kitab and also kalima for the decree of God. It means his proclamation, his verbal proclamation of his message to human beings. So both words, kalimat, and books, kutub, are used for both cases. But while we are studying the Quran, I am sure you are the lovers of the Quran. That's why you are here. We have to be careful in which context the word is used and referring to which meaning. Verbal speech or actional speech. The speech by creation, acts of creation, or revelation. Not necessarily kitab means revelation. Kalimat means the action-wise speech. Not necessarily. When you study the Quran, you will say they are interchangeably used, depending on the vocabulary or the style of the rhetoric of the language of the Quran. Sometimes kitab, sometimes kalimat or kalimah. Here is used, for example, Mary has confirmed, believed. Sattaqa means confirm, really. But you can say believe. It means confirm something, endorse something, which means I believe it's true. Yeah. Translation is not important, but there is a difference between sattaqa and amana. So this is the difference. But doesn't matter. It's not significant, really, in understanding the Quran. So she confirmed the words of her Lord and his books. Now, why is it combined here? That's an interesting question. Because she's experiencing an extraordinary creation according to her as a human being. So she has to understand that this extraordinary creation is the act of God as he creates any children, any baby in the womb of a woman as an act of God, as acts of God. So she confirmed the kalima in the form of creation, but at the same time, his speech carried by the angel, that is God's decree for you. It has to be fulfilled. Whatever God wills, it happens, beyond question. That is God's choice. So it is time to look at the matter from God's perspective, which means if the Creator is an absolute being, he shouldn't need the means. He shouldn't need the means to create something. Otherwise, he wouldn't be absolute. And if he wasn't absolute, we cannot explain the existence of this universe. That is why, not because we took it for granted that God is absolute being. No, no, no. The universe says my creator must be an absolute being. That's why I say the creator must be an absolute being. I am not an imitator, nothing which is beyond my imagination that I will imitate something without understanding and confirming and being convinced about it. I cannot do that. Okay. So when we say by definition, the absolute doesn't need anything. Otherwise, we cannot explain the universe. Did you notice that I did say, otherwise we wouldn't believe in God? No, it's nothing to do with that. That is something else. When you believe in the absolute being, it means you believe in God, because God can be described only with these terms, one of these kind of terms. But the term must include the nature of absoluteness in it. If I say God, but I don't mean absolute, For example, God created this and that, but for example, it is the best example is everybody argues about it. God's mercy is absolute, but how about these wars and something? Yeah, his mercy is absolute. How about the existence of creating hell? Yeah, his mercy encompasses hell as well. You know, there's people collect scraps, metal scraps. What do they do it? They see that something good in it, so they take it and to earn how do you say plant factory to purify them. That is why the Quran describes hell with fire. One, not to consume, but consume what is not original to human nature and get out his original if you're called of human nature, that is saved. That is why in the language of the hadith narrations, which I love it, it is beautiful, it really represents to me truth, not that the prophet is really just making us feel comfortable. No, it is reality. If anybody has any grain of belief in God, but the prophet is very careful not to mention that believe in God and the angels and his books and the prophethood and me and the hereafter. No. Believe in God. Because, in fact, in its essence, belief in God includes those things as well. It needs further discussions, further concentrations on the subject. That is why the prophet is concisely speaking and saying that if there is a grain of belief in one's heart, God is not going to waste it. Save it. But it is rusted, like the used metals, the rusted used metal. They take it because there is something in it, so that it needs to be cleaned, purified. That is the way that we need to collect the used, the metal scraps, recycle it because we value it. This is mercy. You got it? Does it make sense? I have a friend here, I'm asking him, does it make sense? We shouldn't waste it. And we cannot waste anything truth. A grain amount of truth, that is to be saved. That is what we have to understand, that the creation of hell is like the plant who saves the core iron in the scrap metals. So unbelievers' heart is polluted, rusted. So they need to be cleaned. This cleaning process is a means of cure. So like using antibiotics when you need it. There's somebody who's in the subject in front of me. That's why it reminded me. You know, sometimes we use antidotes, yeah, for something to correct it. Anyways, now you understood that Mary is experiencing in her own being two kinds of creation at the same time. The spirit, the ruh, this is mentioned as ruh, Gabriel, we will come there. Angel will come, and we discussed actually, angels will come and give the news of God, revelation of God to Mary let her know that God is going to do something in a way that she is not experienced like you and me. That's why when she conceived the baby, she understood that there is no need for cause, as we human beings are accustomed with, for God to create. Here we are. I am pregnant. No one touched me. Understood? It's a perfect experience, convincing, making human beings 100% sure that God doesn't need causes, but we need. We understood, inshallah, this subject. But at the same time, this news came to him through God, through angels. It means angels received the news from God, transfer it to Mary. Yeah, because absolute being is not expected to get down at the level of createdness like a human being and speak to him like a human being. But absolute being speaks to human being at the level of human being, but he is still absolute. So we cannot experience that God will come and speak to me. But still, we say, the Quranic narration says, and some people may justify this understanding, that God spoke to Moses. Yeah. Did Moses see God? No. He heard the voice. Of course, you can hear the voice, either through angels or through actions. Anyways, we study from time to time what belief in angel means. Angel means the aspect of the creation which shows its creator, malakut of beings. It means malakut, you can translate it, but it's not an English word. As far as I know, it is not. Angelness side of creation. But the translation said dominion, kingdom, this, but I would say angelness side of creation, which is not meta. But the meaning itself directly comes to me without being, if you like, enraptured into material means, direct speech. So Moses heard direct speech of God, not through angels as we are used to understanding angels, but through voice. Voice is created also by angels. It means God ordered, angels brought it to Moses. God didn't appear before Moses. Qur'an makes it clear with the language, very famous language, Lentarani. It is impossible to speak to us personally. But like I'm speaking to you, you are to my friend now personally. He hears me, he can respond to me back, etc., etc. So we have to understand that Mary has experienced two kinds of creation and God's creation at the same time. Verbally speaking, action-wise speaking, in her own being. That's why this is a special case for Mary. Even in the, that is something interesting, but we should not misunderstand this carefully. I am sharing all my conclusions from my studies with you with no reservation. So even the prophet examples in the Quran, apart from Mary's example, none of the prophet experienced two of them at the same time. as far as we can see, or as far as I can remember. Over. They received angel and word, but creation is out there. Not at the same time, the content of the word is in the act of practical material appearance of the creation. Understood? That is very extraordinary for Mary. That is why whole section is devoted to Mary's name. So it is, she deserves it. As an example, of course, as an example for me. It is possible. Why? God doesn't need anyways, any means. So Aliyah says, so angels is the angelic face of creation, true, pure, that points clearly to its creator. Of course, that is perfect. Aliyah, I agree. My historical, if you like, so very conventional example is the book. When you read the book, when you get the information, you are experiencing the angelic side of the book, which is not materially there, but you are sure that you get information from its author. That is angelic side of the book. But how about this creation, the world as it is, manifested through material actions and material activities? We call it material, that is something else, but the book, papers and other things of the book has nothing to do with the meaning, information we gain from the book. It is sure. No one can say that, no, it is coming from the papers or something. It happened to be in the paper accidentally as a result of evolving for 10 billion years or whatever. Impossible. No one can endorse it at all. Impossible as a human being. So we are sure of it. So angelic side is which looks to God's will directly. Our side is through the veil of causes. Now, this matter, inshallah, if it is clear, alhamdulillah for today's discussion, but we have to go through the second, the following slide fast because we have covered the content of all what we are going to read. But of course, we have to see that what we have said so far is not alien to the Quran. Here we go. If you have anything to say, please go ahead. Otherwise, I will continue because we don't have much time just to read the verses and see. So 32, section 32, verse 7. الذي أحسن كل شيء خلقه وبدأ خلق الإنسان من طين. It makes very clear that who makes most excellent everything that he creates. It means every act of creation is perfect. No one can say that, the creator wasn't successful here. But deliberately creating something healthy, somebody healthy, deliberately creating somebody like me, old-aged, old man, and deliberately creating death. This is deliberate act of creation. They are all perfect. No one can create death. But ask God to create death by killing somebody, cutting his throat, for example, or hitting his with a knife or with something, the bullet, his heart or brain, something like that. But these are all attempting the causes according to us causes. So no one can create death. It is a perfect creation, and it's very purposeful, very wise creation. If you understand the wisdom in it, it is excellent, excellent. I have read this poem. It's a beautiful. It says, "Thank God that we will die." It is a very simple translation of the line, one line. Death is an excellent news for us. Only through the existence of death that we understand there must be a perfect creation. I mean, perfect experience of life and existence for us. Everything is perfect, but a word that I can experience the perfection, perfect manifestation of the Creator, as far as I can see, as a created being. So there is nothing not perfect and not beautiful. So he begins the creation of man out of clay. Look, clay. Who is speaking? God is speaking. To whom? To me and you. What does he say? As you are seeing it, that the people are eating things coming from the soil or earth, don't think that clay is creating them. The creator, the clay cannot create. The creator is using this to teach you that you have to eat. The things come out of animal, plants, etc. And then your body will be constructed out of these materials. That is how my order of creation is. You have to do it. So don't say that. Don't say that the clay is the source of existence. Soil is the source of existence, using today's language. As we see the causes, are the source of existence. No, the purpose of the Quran is, we can say, this is always the argument we need to remember. Look, I don't have to learn from God that human beings are created out of certain matter. Body, not the spirit, body. Why the Quran bothers to tell this to me? No, Quran's message is to teach me what I don't know. I need guidance. What is that? What I don't know? That I know clay or the soil material side is I have to eat and I have to feed my body. That is how I am experiencing and learning from the order of the universe. That is how I am. But Quran says, hey, don't forget, it is my creation. It is not the creation of the causes that you are benefiting from. That is my preparation. That is the way I create. So I have to reflect. Is it really? Can the causes have no effect at all? When I do something, I have no effect. I have no claim on it. That at least I arranged for example, my work. Yeah, I changed the order. It is not possible to change the order. I use different order, different elements in the order of the universe and combined them in a different way. But as much as God allowed me, the Creator allowed me, I cannot combine two things if it is not within the order of the universe. It means not giving the permission. So I understand that matter cannot be the source of existence of anything, but they are used, employed in order to prepare a good or perfect platform for me where I can communicate with the Creator. I think this is the message of the Quran. The message of the Quran is not that to teach me human beings are created from clay. It is ridiculous. I know it. Even those people who don't believe in God, human beings are using the things, material things, and their body is growing accordingly. If you don't take certain vitamins or proteins or whatever they are, elements, your body suffers. You know that. So you don't need God to tell you this. That's why we should not look at these things that we can learn from the order of the universe that the Quran is explaining to me. No. Quran is showing the aspect which is not obvious in front of my eyes if I don't listen to the revelation. That's why the purpose of revelation to introduce ghaib in the language of the Quran. I cannot know to me. Now, verse 8. ثم جعل نسله من سلالة من ماء مهين. Look at how beautifully he tells me. And then he, God made his descendants from an extract of a humble fluid. It means mother and father mother and father have no share in the creation of the fluid or the baby. No, it is God arranged it. But I am used to the way that God creates because order is like this, and I see that when male and female get together and then child is created, but child comes into existence, but it is an act of creation by the creator of the order of the universe. That is what the Quran gives this news to me. Otherwise, yeah, everybody knows that out of fluid, humble fluid, mehin, very simple fluid, in and of itself is very simple. That's matter, just a kind of matter. Yeah, made up of matter. So these things cannot be the source of existence of the baby. That is a special arrangement. That's a special act of creation. Now we got it. The purpose of the Quran who is teaching me not to challenge that, look, 1400 years ago, people didn't know. No, they knew it. They were experiencing it, how they are born, how they have their children. They know it. So there is no difference between 14th century, 6th century and 21st century. That's and it will never change until the end of the world, this world. We don't need this information, and there is no need to read the Quran from this perspective and say that, look, we didn't know that the people on the 6th century, 7th century didn't know that the human fetus went through 4 stages. Excuse me, they knew how the camels get pregnant and how the pregnant camel, when they slaughter it, they know there's something going on in the womb of the female camel. That's what the people who answers this kind of baseless claims gives the example what the life of Bedouins are. They were the butchers, they were the people who are expert on how to slaughter the camel and how to get the pieces, everything, what is going on in the body of the camel. No. These claims not really convincing for me, although something is really extraordinary, according to us, extraordinary, that the Quran mentions. But these are not the points of Quran's miraculousness. Quran's miraculousness is to expose the reality of creation, looks to its creator. We have to be calm. There is no superfluous challenge, really. There are extraordinary things in the Quran, mentioning the name of Haman, for example. Historically, no one knew it, but really in the calligraphy of the Greek calligraphy, Egyptian calligraphy. The name Haman is mentioned in the writings left on the stones, which is discovered very recently. And it is the architect of Pharaoh. Yes, miraculous information, but Qur'an gives this kind of information, not that it is the purpose of it, but just tells that the one who speaks in the Quran knows everything. Either you may know now or not, in material terms as well. But it is not the very significant side of the Quran. Now, the last verse in this, ثم سواه ونفخ فيه من روحه. Now, he said, then he formed him, every human being, and breathed into him, every human being, from his spirit. Look, it is an ordinary creation. So, breathing from his spirit into Jesus is not different from breathing into me from God's own spirit. There's no difference. But the difference is in the aspect of the creation that I have not experienced in this world. But my understanding of creation says, yes, it must be so. So belief side looks at the understanding, conclusion of our observation of the creation, coming to the conclusion that the universe can be the act of an absolute being, nothing else. So everything is extraordinary. So here we understand that some people give a special status to Jesus, which from our respect, yes, his creation was special from our respect. Well, God's respect is the same. But this special status is mentioned to every human being as well. That's why I have chosen these verses from the Quran, demonstrating that how the causal chain as we experience is presented to me to show that all these acts are performed by the absolute being who is called God. So every human being received the spirit from God's spirit, like Jesus received the spirit from God's spirit, and made hearing and vision and hearts for you. Yeah, it means I have my vision, I have my hearing ability given to me, I have my heart given to me, like it has been, they have been given to Jesus. There is no difference in this sense. So, yet how seldom you are grateful. Look at the message is, قَلِيلًا مَا تَشْكُرُونَ. Are you aware that they are given to you freely? That is the point. Whether it is given to Jesus or Adam or me, that is the point. Are you aware that you are given all these human qualities freely to you by God directly creating? Nothing has any share in his acts of creation. Are you grateful for that? That is the point that we learn from these verses. The time is late. Thank you for your patience. And inshallah, we will continue from the following verses related to Mary's story directly. So we are back to the section story next week, inshallah. Thank you very much. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وآخر دعواهم أن الحمد لله رب العالمين بحرمة سر سورة الفاتحة. Inshallah, I'll see you Saturday Monday and next Wednesday following, inshallah. Wassalamu alaikum. Thank you for those people who pray, inshallah. I would say jazakumullah.